Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Canto 9, Chapter 19, Text 16. The matter of King Yayati achieves liberation. Ya Dushtyaja Durmatibihi Ya Dushtyaja Durmatibihi Jiryataha Ya Na Jiryate Jiryato Ya Na Jiryate Tam Trishnam Dukkha Nivaham Tam Trishnam Dukkha Nivaham Sarmakamaha Dhrutam Tyaje Sarmakamo Dhrutam Tyaje Ya Dushtyaja Durmatibhi Jiryato Ya Na Jiryate Tam Trishnam Dukkha Nivaham Sarmakamo Dhrutam Tyaje Ya Dushtyaja Durmatibhi Jiryato Ya Na Jiryate Tam Trishnam Dukkha Nivaham Sharmakamo Dhrutam Tyaje Ya Dushtyaja Durmatibhi Jiryato Ya Na Jiryate Tam Trishnam Dukkha Nivaham Sharmakamo Dhrutam Tyaje. Yeah, that which Dustyaja extremely difficult to give up. durmatibihi, by persons too attached to material enjoyment, jiryataha, even by one who is an invalid because of old age. Yeah, that which na not jiryate is vanquished. Tam, such trishnam, desire, dukkha nivaham, which is the cause of all tribulations. Sharma kamaha, a person desiring his own happiness. Drishtam, very soon. Tyajet, should give up. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhaya Chanarendra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. For those who are too attached to material enjoyment, sense gratification is very difficult to give up. Even when one is an invalid because of old age, one cannot give up such desires for sense gratification. Therefore, one who actually desires happiness must give up such unsatisfied desires, which are the cause of all tribulations. Purport. We have actually seen, especially in the Western countries, that men who have reached more than 80 years of age still go to nightclubs and pay heavy fees to drink wine and associate with women. Although such men are too old to enjoy anything, their desires have not ceased. Time deteriorates even the body itself, which is a medium for all sensual satisfaction. But even when a man becomes old and invalid, his desires are strong enough to dictate that he go here and there to satisfy the desires of his senses. Therefore, by the practice of Bhakti Yoga, one should give up his lusty desires, as explained by Sri Emanacharya. Yadavadi mama cheta Krishna padara vinde nava rasadham ne udhyatam rastamasi tadvati तद्वधि भटनारी संगमे स्मर्यमाने bhavati mukha vikaraha stuti nistivanam cha. When one is Krishna conscious, he gets more and more happiness by discharging duties for Krishna. Such a person spits on sense gratification, especially that of sexual enjoyment. An experienced advanced devotee is no longer interested in sex life. The strong desire for sex can be subdued only by advancement in Krishna consciousness. Translation with repetition. For those who are too attached to material enjoyment, sense gratification is very difficult to give up. Even when one is an invalid because of old age, one cannot give up such desires for sense gratification. Therefore, one who actually desires happiness must give up such unsatisfied desires, which are the cause of all tribulations. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschad Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Savitam Nena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadari Supadandigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udavadagamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahana Raghunatham Vedantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lilita Shri Vishakamitam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Aditana Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Mugam Karoti Vachalam Bangam Langayate Girim Yatrivadamam Mande Shri Gurum Yanatarinam Yatrivadamam Mande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Iswaram Bhagavata Pavanam. It's a long time. Hare Krishna. So, ninth canto, a chapter called King Yayati Achieves Liberation. Yayati king is a very great personality. You hear of him in Bhagavatam, many Puranas, in Mahabharata, one of the great kings, but also one of the persons from whom we can learn so much. A person who achieved all great things in this world. And a man and a king who succeeded in enjoying in heavenly planet for so many years. There's no end to the enjoyment in heaven because the time scale in heaven is very different. So the enjoyment in heaven is many earth years. And he also managed, when that was over, when his piety was over, to gain piety and avoid falling from it. So he was a great king. His story is very famous in Bhagavatam. He is also the origin of Yadava community, Yadava dynasty, one of his sons. So a great line in the dynasty of Moon all started from Yayati. So Yayati is a proof himself that material life does not give any happiness. Because as a king and as an extraordinary king and an extraordinary man who tried all kinds of enjoyment, he himself concluded that material life does not give sustained happiness. Because everybody knows material gross body cannot give happiness for the soul who is within the body. But still, the endeavor for material happiness is always there. Material happiness, the mind always desires. This was the original sin of the living entity. The original sin, in the sense, spirit souls are made to be part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and they are supposed to satisfy the Supreme Lord, the senses of the Supreme Lord. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna, Satchidananta Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karma. So that personality, Adir Govinda, the original Govinda, a personality, original Govinda, who has multivarious energies and who has his senses, and the living entities who are supposed to satisfy his sense, has thought that he should enjoy himself. This is the original sin. Many people say, why have we come here? Now we are trying to go back to Godhead, but why did I come here? How did it happen? If this was a wrong place, why did I choose? We have forgotten. The Shastra say the original sin is wanting to be an enjoyer. Everybody in this material world, it doesn't matter man, woman, animal, birds, insect, any species of life you take, even plant species, Everybody wants to Lord. Everybody wants to become the Lord. It is very simple. If 4 people are going together, there'll always be one leader. One will be trying to be a leader. And competition always starts. So putting people together, you forget people. You put a pack of dogs together. Even among them, there will be a leader dog. You put birds together. Among them also there will be a leader bird. So to be a leader, to be a lord, to be an enjoyer is the original sin which is embedded in the soul. Unless that is given up, we cannot release the soul from the clutches of body and mind. Of course, the mind is the cause of all these things. He is the master of all the senses. He is a king among the senses. If the mind is controlled, then automatically everything will be controlled. So the process of spiritual life, to begin with at least, is the process of controlling the senses. Now you may think controlling the senses means stop everything. Why many people, 90% of the people who think of spiritual life think that spiritual life means stop all activities. Because in the material world, we are doing all activities towards sense gratification. So spiritual life means you stop all activities. But by stopping all activities, one cannot stop sense gratification. Try to close the door and sit inside the room whole day. What do people generally say? I'll go mad. Why will you go mad? So one should think, when I'm sitting alone, if I'm sitting with 10 different people and 10 people are screaming and doing their work and shouting around, you will go mad. No, that you won't go mad. But you say that when I'm sitting alone in the room, I'll go mad. Why is that? Everybody is scared. What are they scared? They are scared of their mind. Why? Actually speaking, mind is senior to ourselves. This body. This body was born 50 years back. Mind was born when? We don't know. Thousands and thousands of lifetime has gone, the same mind. The mind is superior. Mind is superior to us, the body, so-called body. If I'm saying I'm this body, my mind is superior to me. So I'm scared. People don't know this, but the simple is that. Why? Mind is controlling us. The people are only thinking of 3 things. Should I do the right activity? What is the right activity? Or should I choose wrong activity? 24 hours a day, your mind is only thinking of these 3 things. This is the internal struggle every living entity has every day. And that is why he is scared to be alone. People say, very difficult, I can never be alone. There's no reason. The fear is not from outside. Yeah, if you're alone in the night in the road, there is a reason to be scared. But when you are locked up in the room, the only reason to be scared is one's mind. So mind is considered the master of the senses. And if one can control this mind, then one becomes almost God conscious. As Krishna says, he who is a friend of the mind, he has achieved Paramatma. So mind is the only thing which is actually keeping us away from our happiness. And the mind makes us to be happy through gross senses. You see? And what is this mind? Is it a personality? We give a shape to the mind. No. It is only an energy, just like the senses are. The senses are there, Panchendriya, 5 knowledge acquiring senses, 5 karmendriyas, action senses, the mind, which is directing these senses. So mind is also one of the senses, but it is superior because it has been there with us a long, long time, and there is nobody else other than the Lord, of course, who knows you better. If you say, who knows you better? My mind knows me better, because the mind has been there for so many years, so many lifetimes. He knows all your secrets. So he has taken the position of a Lord, directing us to do what, do this, do that, run here and that. And we are running and running and running and running. But without knowing that this energy called as mind has no life. Now, this is a great secret. A person who does not have life is a person who is controlling me. So this is the situation of the living entity, the struggle of the living entity who's trying to go to Krishna, who's trying for any. It doesn't matter whether you're going to Krishna or Rama or he or them or in personal or a yogi. Anybody who's trying to go beyond the body is caught by the mind. It doesn't matter where you're going. Even in the material world, even in your material endeavors, you want to be a champion. The mind will not allow you. Right? Every day morning, getting up 5 o'clock and put your tracksuit and run. Is it possible every day? Mind is not. So not only in the spiritual endeavor, even in the material endeavor, mind is. And this mind has no life. And who has given life to this mind? We have given life to it. So this is what Shastras say. We are caught by this subtle energy of the Lord, Krishna's energy, which is controlling us, taking life from us. It is just like a parasite. A tree dies because of a parasite, comes and grows, takes all the nutrient of the tree, and the tree dies. The parasite is dead. So the mind is like that. But at the same time, mind is so powerful that if the mind is under the control of the soul, then he is the friend of the living entity. It goes according to the desire of the living entity. But to achieve that, a lot of endeavor, and that is the endeavor of sadhana. So sadhana bhakti is required for us to control the mind. So that is why people say do yoga in the beginning. Nowadays people say yoga is for the body. Yoga is not for the body. By doing yoga, your bodily strength increases to some extent, your diseases go. But the purpose of yoga is to control this mind. Control the mind physically until you reach a stage of samadhi, which is one directed concentration. Otherwise, you cannot. So, yoga is done for that. After doing the yoga, then he does his spiritual endeavor, generally to surrender to Paramatma. And then enters devotion service. But in our case, we are directly jumping to devotion service. We are not doing yoga. Somebody has a stomach trouble, heart trouble, may do some yoga, but not the spiritual life anymore, because it doesn't give us benefit. We don't do big tapas. We are directly jumping to Krishna consciousness, which is surrendering to Krishna directly, which should be done after the mind is controlled, after the body is strong, after Paramatma is achieved. After that, you can surrender to Krishna, but we are jumping directly. This is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the mercy of the Parampara, who has given us the opportunity to directly jump to Krishna to do devotion service. Because we are directly jumping to Krishna to do devotion service, we do not know how to control this mind. But we have the most powerful weapon to control the mind, which is concentrating the mind in Krishna. Of course, which is also not possible in the beginning stage. Mind being the master of the senses, the Raja of the senses, if he is engaged in something which is connected to Krishna and concentrated on that, then control is achieved. You may say, how do I control the mind? You may know many times when we do some things at our house, we are engaged in some work. Say we are engaged in hearing something. Very nice song. Hearing a very nice song. People are coming into the house, people are going from the house. So many things are happening in the house, but you do not know what is happening in the house. Who's coming in, who's going out? When did you come? When did you go? You were here only. Yes, my body was here. I was listening to the song. So what happened in the mind? Mind was concentrating in one particular thing, which I thought is very nice and I like. Hence, my mind is oblivion to all the other things. I didn't know who came in. I didn't know who went out. So the trick of the game is to concentrate, to keep the mind on something which is very, very productive and interesting. So unless we become interested in Krishna consciousness, interested in serving Krishna, interested in the Shastra, our mind will keep learning. That is where Prabhupada said, as soon as you dovetail your mind in Krishna consciousness, in serving Krishna, putting the Krishna, by rasovarjam, rasopyasya, by giving up lower desires and engaging the mind in higher desires, you cannot control the mind. So this so-called mind, which does not have life, taking life from us and disturbing us so much and keeping us in sense gratification. So this mind can be controlled only by the process of fixing it somewhere. Now, where do we fix it? Fixing in something which is very, very strong, which is very, very, very powerful, which is beyond the material world. Apaurushayaha. We have to concentrate, put the mind, engage the mind in something which is beyond human system. And what is that? That has to be spiritual. So when we concentrate the mind in Krishna consciousness, which includes serving Krishna, using the hands and legs and serving Krishna, which includes reading the Shastras, such kind of activity, which includes associating with people, devotees who are doing devotional service, by this kind of engagement, one can control the mind. Otherwise, you cannot. So Shastras all say sense gratification is so difficult to give up. So the conclusion given is, even if a person who is old, many times people say, when I'm old, everything will be okay. Because we think body will have no more power. But body never had power. The senses never had the power. The power was given by the mind. So when the body does not have the power, whether you're old or young, it doesn't matter. The power for sense enjoyment will always be there. Not that old people do not have any problem of sense enjoyment. They don't have disturbances in sense. They have more because the mind is stronger and the body is weaker. So the frustration is more. Like Prabhupada said, they are more frustrated. So the only way to escape from this frustration, the only way to escape this control of the mind is concentrate on something apaurishaya, concentrating on something which is spiritual. So this Krishna consciousness activities, which starts from sound, chanting the name of the Lord, concentrating the mind on the sound. Sound has great power. That is why it is called Shabda Brahman, the Lord in the form of sound. The Lord in the form of sound is not part of the material sound. It has come from outside this material world. Doesn't matter whether it is Veda, Shastras, or different names, different mantras, or the holy name. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, holy name is from Golokera Premadana. It's from the topmost portion of the spiritual world. But even the Vedas are Apaurishayas beyond. So when you become Vedic, you can control your mind because you get concentrate your mind in the Sabdha and follow the processes given in the Shastras. So following and keeping the mind concentrated on sound, people can get out of this. That alone is not enough. One has to keep his mind on the senses and engaging the senses in Krishna consciousness. So when the senses are engaged in Krishna consciousness, the mind is totally absorbed in the activity that we are doing. In that, when you do those activities, just like you're cleaning a room. When we clean a room, our mind is totally there. If the mind is totally there, we are free from all different things. People say, I want to do some activities. If I'm sitting alone, I'll go mad. Another usual statement is that something I should be doing. If I have nothing to do, I'll go mad. Why? Again, mind. So the materially also we know the way to escape mind is to put it in some activity. So naturally, when the mind is put in Krishna conscious activities, naturally there is concentration of the mind and also purification of the mind. If you are doing material activity, mind is engaged, but it's not purified. Jai Shri Krishna Balaram ki Nithai Gaur ki. So when we are in doing activities, not only is that the mind is stuck in that activity, it is getting slowly purified. By slowly getting purified, this sense control is automatically achieved in Bhakti Yoga. Without Jnana Yoga, without Karma Yoga, without Hatha Yoga, all these yogas we can keep aside and the mind still gets controlled. If you day and day out, we do the service of Krishna consciousness. This is a natural power of Krishna consciousness. Engaging the senses. Not only engaging the senses, just like when we chant Hare Krishna. It is not the question of only using the mouth in chanting. The mind is also involved in chanting. If the mind is not involved, then there is no power of the mantra. Same way, when we're doing and engaged in Krishna conscious activities, also the mind has to be absorbed in the activity, thinking that this is for Krishna. Bhajata Priti Purvakam is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Bhajata, you do service. Bhajata does not only mean bhajana madodu. Bhajata means it is defined as seva. It is defined as service. Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. You do service to me, to Krishna, Priti Purvakam, loving devotion service. So one has to be conscious that I am doing service for Krishna and this I should do it in a loving nature. So by devotion service, we are taught how to love the Supreme Lord and how to do activities to give him pleasure. Because when you love somebody, you want to make him happy. You love your child. You buy all the different things in the house. My child likes this. My child likes this dress. So whatever we do, we're thinking to please the child. Same way, when we are doing devotional service, when we are chanting, when we are dancing, when we are serving with our hands and legs, when you're cleaning the temple, when we are cooking, when we are talking about Krishna to somebody, all these activities has to be done Bhajatam Priti Purvakam. If Bhajatam Priti Purvakam is not there, effect is very less. Effect is there. It's a good activity, but it doesn't immediately control your mind. So people who are always engaged in Bhajatam Priti Purvakam in the form of chanting the Lord's name. Why? I love the Lord, so I chant his name always. So every word when we are chanting, that love has to come. I love my Lord, so I'm going to the temple and I'm doing some service. Why? I love him. I love my Lord so that I'm cooking something for the Lord, something good for him. Because when you cook something with love, taste is automatically coming. Many people are scared to cook for the Lord because you cannot taste. Cooking has to be done without tasting. So the only way a cooked food is tasty is with love. Priti Purvakam. Again, Krishna says, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. I don't need any big things. It could be small, it's just water. It could be a leaf. It could be a flower. But if love is there, I'll take. We offer to Krishna Bhoga with Tulsi. Because without Tulsi, Krishna will accept. But we think that we can give Tulsi and no need to give love. No, that's not possible. Even if Tulsi is there, if there is love is not there, then we sometimes come to the temple and say what we can get. That's a totally opposite. That is Asurik. That becomes Asurik. Dambo, Dharpo, Abhimanascha, Krodha, Parushyam. This is the attitude of demons. We don't have teeth and horns. But mentally, we are demons. Why? We are trying to take something. No, rather we have to go to Krishna to give something to Krishna. Great yogis want to take things. They want power. They want knowledge. They want to control others. So I do this puja, that puja. Every Amavasya I do something. Every Purnima I do something. Why? You get a lot of strength to control. That kind of seva is of no use. That kind of seva only fattens our material mind. It only fattens our our ahankara. That doesn't help in controlling our mind. That doesn't help in giving up our gross body. It is considered like a coconut. Right? Coconut is very, very young, tender coconut. You drink tender coconut water, very fresh. But that tender coconut, as time goes, slowly becomes hard. The water becomes less, more tasty, right? Then you cut it and keep it. Again, it grows inside. It's not dead. Even if you cut the coconut, it's not dead. It still grows inside. The water becomes more and more concentrated, right? The pulp becomes more and more hard. Gradually, water evaporates. The core dries and detaches itself from the outer part. This is how Bhakti Yoga is. Gradually, by doing this seva, chanting, service, controlling the mind, gradually this tender. Today we are very tender, nursery. Somebody asks, where are you going? I'm going to nursery school. 50 years old, you're going to nursery school? Yes, I'm going to spiritual nursery school. Because that is what we are all. We are just kindergarten in spiritual life. Don't think that we have become great yogis. Long time for that. So we are very tender, Komala. The faith is very Komala, very tender. So this Komala faith has to gradually mature. Then suddenly you will realize how the soul is totally detached from the outer body. Just like the coconut. Coconut is there. It is not gone away. It's not disappeared. But the inner kernel is totally detached. You shake it, there will be sound. Today, if somebody shakes us, no sound. Everything is connected. My desires, my this, my that, my ahankara, my me. Totally stuck together. So gradually, we become detached. The soul can identify me is the body, me is the soul. The body is different, me, the soul is different. Today we cannot. We go on repeating like a parrot, I'm not the body, I'm not the body. We go outside and say, you're not the body, you're not the body. Or somebody says, okay, if you're not the body, don't eat, stop eating. No, I have to eat. I mean, you are the body. Don't sleep. So simply parroting that I'm not the body, you are not the body is not going to help us. Well, it will help in hearing many times. But that hearing has to slowly go Hridaya Grandhi. It has to go to the heart. Chidyate Sarva Samshaya. It has to go to the heart and divide and cut this Hridaya Grandhi, this knot of materialism in the heart. It has to cut all the samshaya, all the doubts we have. And it has to show how the soul is the actual Lord of the body. Sarvatmani, the soul becomes the Atmani, he becomes the Lord of the body. Today, the soul is sleeping. The body is the Lord. It has to become opposite. The body has to sleep, the soul has to be active. That is why great Goswamis, half a glass of buttermilk is enough. 1.5 hours, 2 hours of sleep is enough. The modern people should not hear this. They say that 8 hours of minimum sleep. That is because the material mind is too busy in materialism. Actually, materialism makes us tired. Right? Too much watching TV, too much watching mobile phone, too much doing material activities, running around, makes you tired. But you do spiritual activities, you are not tired. And Prabhupada says, bhakti means you want to do more and more and more. I did 16 rounds, I want to do another 16 rounds. I did one service, I want to do more service. So where is this energy coming from? Not from the food that we eat. The food that we eat is keeping the Panchavayu happy. But energy doesn't come from that. Energy has to come from soul. That nobody has. Especially when we do material work. When we do material work, No power is there. But a spiritualist, morning till evening, he is running around. What is this? Some motor is fixed under you. That motor is, like Bhakti Siddhanta used to say, spiritualists are like battery. Energy is reserved in the battery. With that battery, you can run any machines. So what is this battery power? This battery power is spiritual power. That comes from outside. That cannot come from inside. That comes only if you are touching spirit. Like Prabhupada says, iron cannot become fire. Iron can become fire only if iron is touching the fire for a long period of time. Similarly, when the body is in touch with spirit, the fire for a long period of time, it also becomes like spirit. Then the power is different. So the power of the Goswamis and the great Acharyas who write a lot of books, who does a lot of tapasya, who chants 3 lakh names of Krishna, that power is not coming from the food that they eat. They don't even eat them. They eat some one glass of water, buttermilk. So these Goswamis, these great, and not that they are in sad. Oh, I didn't get food. I don't have a house. Rather, their heart is filled with spiritual subject matter. The heart is running 200 kilometers per hour. Today, our body is running 200 kilometers per hour. Our body should rest, and the soul should run 200 kilometers per hour. And for that, petrol is not enough. The food that we eat is not enough. That has to be again apaurushaya. It has to be beyond human calculation. It has to be energy which is beyond the human circle. That energy comes only from Krishna. And how does we get energy? We get our energy from our 16 rounds we chant. Now you may think, 16 rounds to chant, energy. I lose my energy when I chant 16 rounds. Every time I chant my round, the mala becomes more and more heavy. I just want to keep the mala down. The beat bag becomes more and more heavy. That is because of the power of the material mind. And that is because that mind is not put on Krishna's name with Priti Purvakam, love. Love doesn't come from the mind. Love doesn't come from mind. Where does love come from? Yeah. Love comes from the heart. I'm very intelligent, so I'm very loving. No. If you're more intelligent, you won't be loving. Only people of heart has love, right? So love comes from the heart. It doesn't come from the mind. So the love from the heart has to engage the mind in Krishna's name. Love from the heart has to keep the mind Krishna's service. Then it is in the fire of spiritual life. That fire of spiritual life will burn and make it spiritualize the mind and the body. Then sense control. There's no consequence. Automatic. There's no question of control. We don't even concentrate to control. Just like Krishna says in Gita, your senses are going on acting, but the soul has no connection with what is happening in the body. Walking, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, everything is going on in the body. The soul has no connection with that. That detachment is just detachment of the coconut. So when we reach that stage, then sense gratification, sense control. The mind does not push us for sense control. The mind does not push us for sense gratification because the taste is there. It doesn't matter what a great yogi you are. You go and sit in a nightclub, you will become sense gratifier. So natural. That is why Krishna says, Asangaha. Stop association. You have to stop associating with that which is asat. And we have to associate with that which is sat. Sat means which has spiritual energy. Asat means which is dead matter. Which has no spiritual energy. It may have material energy, but does not have spiritual energy. So asat, asatyagaha, asat sangatyagaha. This is what Krishna says. So when we disassociate, so these two things has to go. One is we have to do Priti Purvakam. We have to take this love from the heart and place in Krishna. Number one. Number two is that we have to go on postponing and cheating the mind whenever it wants to go and associate with material things. Asanga. So when we are doing this Sangatyaga, this word comes in Bhagavad Gita many number of times. Sangatyaga. Only then we can. So you may say, I've been doing the same thing what you're saying for so many years. No, nothing is happening. You will not know something is happening or not, but it is happening. But if you want to happen faster, then we have to do this bhajatam priti purvakam more strongly, with more endeavor. Only then we can get faster the benefit, but the benefit is sure. So one of the most important things Krishna says in Gita is that not only that you engage these things, there's one more thing you have to do. Krishna explains that very clearly in 11th chapter, last verse. Prabhupada says this last verse of 11th chapter is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Right? So such an important verse. So if you say, what should I do? How do I do devotional service? One only has to keep reading this verse again and again and again. Mat karma krin. Mat paramo. Mat bhakta. Sangavarjitaha. Nirvairahi. Sarvabhuteshu. Ja samam eti pandavaha. You only have to do these four things. Mat karma krin. Same thing. Engage your life in my service. Engage your heart, your mind, your intelligence, your senses, everything in my service. Mat karma krim. The Supreme Lord is saying himself. Actually, it is no wonder why Krishna calls us Mudha. Because the answer to our solution is right here. The answer to our question is right here. Still, we don't see it. Mat karma krin. Keep doing my service. Mat paramo. Because I am the Supreme benefactor of all of you. Mat bhaktaha, be my devotee. Be my devotee means what? It includes using your legs to come to the temple. It includes using your hands and serving, but also including your heart. Don't come to the temple without your heart. Come to the temple with the heart. If you keep the heart outside the gate and come inside, no use. Same way, people are sitting in the temple. Your body is inside, but heart is outside. Outside doesn't work. So we have to be with the heart, right? So, mad bhaktaha, sangavarjitaha, disassociate with material things. Keep away from material things. These three things. I say, I can do this thing, no problem. Very easy. I'm always morning till evening the temple only. You are in the temple. But with heart, service has to be done. Yes, I am doing service in the temple. Mad bhakta, I'm always paying obeisance to the Lord. I am his devotee. I'm not going out of the temple at all, so I'm Sangatyaga. That's not enough. The next line is most important. What is that? Nirvairaha sarvabhuteshu. You should not be envious. You should not be an enemy of anybody in this world. That difficult. I have this problem, I have that problem. This man is not good. That man is not good. He told this. He did that to me. I had to do that to him. We may do all these three things, but this one thing, very difficult to do. Unless we do that also, we cannot go to the next step. So Krishna is very clearly telling what we should do. So sense control also means the next level of sense control. That is all our subtle desires. What are the 6 things which affect us? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. Kama, Krodha. I'm angry, very angry. That Prabhu is very angry. We hear this. Lobha, greed, unsatiated greed. I should get it, not others. Moha, mother, matsarya, madness. Simple thing is that I cannot stand another devotee. I cannot stand another person. So we may do all these things, chant 16 rounds, serve the Lord, do every service, but I cannot stand other devotee. Krishna says no use. So we have to endeavor. So that's another level of sense control where I make myself meek and humble. How I make myself unimportant. This is another place Krishna says. What does he use? He uses this word. One should not be proud to get attention. Right here. One should not we are all hunger for attention. We are all hungry, just like we are hungry to be leader. We are hungry for attention. So one has to be free from this hunger for attention. Because we are hungry for attention, we cannot accept another person. Because you're a competitor. You also want attention, I also want attention. So there's a competition of attention, competition of becoming the boss, competition of becoming who's most important, who gets a better benefit, in the sense who can control. Same disease. The same disease for which we are here, we are continuing the same thing. But we are chanting Hare Krishna. Chanting Hare Krishna, before I was trying to control without Hare Krishna, now I'm trying to control with Hare Krishna, which is more dangerous. Somebody who's, okay, finish. Somebody who is trying to control without Hare Krishna, he is innocent. First verse of chapter 16. Krishna says what you should be doing for Krishna consciousness. Abhayam sattva samsuddhir jnana yoga vyavastita dhanam dhamascha yagnascha swadhyayas tapa arjavam. In this whole list Krishna is giving, the last one is most important. Cleanliness, freedom from envy, and passion for honor. And this is the question. Passion for honor. This is what is keeping us not humble. So, doing Krishna's service and being away from material things, controlling the mind, all these things are not enough. One has to also accommodate all the living entities, because everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. Because it is not possible to say that I love Krishna and I don't love others who belong to Krishna. That doesn't exist. It can never happen. When you say I love you, I should be loving everything connected to you. Of course, modern days is what before marriage the girl says, I only love you. I don't love your mother, father, dog, car, nothing. Come out of the house, we make another house. This is modern way. Love means only you. But with Krishna, it doesn't work like that. When you say, I love Krishna, then you have to love everything connected to Krishna. Everybody who is connected to Krishna. That is why humility has to be also cultivated. When humility is cultivated, then this passion for honor, competition for more, controlling tendency, all this goes. So this is another thing to be added if sense has to be controlled. Otherwise, sense control doesn't come and the benefit doesn't come. Okay, we stop here. Any questions or comments? Okay. Hare Krishna. So we have Ram Navami coming on 30th March, Thursday. So we have Rama Lakshman Alankara. Celebrations will begin in the evening 6 p.m. onwards. We will have Rama Taraka Yajna, discourse, Sankirtan, and dinner prasadam as part of the celebration. That's on 30th March. We're also starting cultural camp. We'll be having cultural camp for kids from 13th April to 7th May. Interested devotees can enroll their kids for this culture camp. More details are put up on the temple notice board. Oh, now we go for Kirtan and construction. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gandhara Srimad Bhagavatam.